What's that? It does say it's the mausoleum of the Tyrrell family. Now I might get my gimbal through here as well. Hi guys, so today we're in New Ross, St Mary's Church of Ireland. Behind me you can see what's left of the old church, and it adjoins the new church, and we're going to take a look around, tell you some history of the place. William Marshal and Isabel de Clare founded New Ross, and as I said, there's lots of history in here, so we're going to take a walk, have a look at some headstones, and we're going to have a look inside the ruins as well. So this is St Mary's Church, Church of Ireland, and right down there we have the ruins. Now, large medieval churches such as St Mary's were generally constructed in the shape of a cross, with the southern part or chancel pointed towards the east. So we are going to take a wander around, and straight away I want to walk up here. Now we have lots of rails as we come in. This is the gate I've come in. Down here is New Ross town. We've some headstones that way as well. But as I said, I want to kind of walk up through here. Now, as I said, lots of rails. Some broken, unfortunately. But look at this. Isn't this gorgeous? In memory of Richard, and then the rest unfortunately is covered by ivy. More rails here, look at this. This is for Richard Usher Esquire. Looks like he passed in 1903, but once again you can see completely covered with ivy, as is all in here. We have a little small grave here, and the writing is almost gone, but it looks like it says in memory of Thomas Victor Bagnall, early loved child of Walter and Anna Bagnall, who died the 22nd of July 1887. So we have a little child here, Thomas Victor Bagnall, and he's all on his own by the looks of it in this little small grave. So very sad to read. Now that's the side of St Mary's, but look at this. These are the ruins. Now unfortunately you can see that this is locked here. Have a look at this. This is extremely old, I do know that. I did inquire about getting a key. I'm waiting on a return call, so if it happens I'm absolutely going to open up the gates. Probably not on this video, but on a future video, and we can get in and take a really close look at what is actually inside here. Now I'm going to zoom in for you anyway. That one has some amazing markings. Look at that. And I'm going to try and get a closer look at that effigy in there. Looks like he's lost his head, but the rest of him is all there, right down to his feet. And we do have tombs as well on the ground. But that is absolutely amazing. That is original. And look at the detail. So let's keep going and see what else we can find. Doesn't seem to be any writing on this one. That's the little child's grave there. Look at those windows. Looks like there would have been an entrance maybe here. Look at that in there. So we were looking from there in. And then it adjoins to the newer church there. Wow. This is the chancel of St. Mary's Church, where the altar stood facing east towards Jerusalem and the rising sun, and where the consecration of the medieval services were carried out. The chancel windows are amongst the finest examples of early Gothic architectural sculpture in Ireland. Gothic was an architectural style introduced by the Normans, such as William Marshal, when they came to Ireland in the late 12th century. The chancel also contains a number of fine medieval grave covers, the best known and perhaps most emotive of which is the memorial to the unnamed Ross Bambino. Less well known and perhaps just as stirring is the stone reputed to have covered the last resting place of Isabel Marshal, or Isabella Marshal. Isabel died in 1220, just a year after her husband William. Although her body was laid to rest in Wales, Isabel's association with St. Mary's was reputably so strong that after her death, her heart was shipped across the Irish Sea to be interred here. So, as I said, New Ross, the town was founded with her and her husband. So it doesn't surprise me that she wanted to be buried here. She was, after all, the granddaughter of Diarmid MacMurrough, the last Gaelic king of Leinster, and it was Diarmid who enlisted the aid of Norman knights led by Strongbow, the Earl of Pembroke, to regain his lost kingdom of Leinster. When the Normans landed in Wexford in 1169 and 1170, Strongbow was married to MacMurrough's daughter Aoife as part of his agreement with her father. When Diarmid died in 1171, Strongbow effectively inherited effectively inherited his lordship of the southeastern part of Ireland, which is Leinster, and the Norman conquest of the island had begun. Isabel Marshal, the only surviving child of Strongbow and Aoife, was born in Wales, but she could claim to be the last princess of Leinster. If I do get the key, I don't think it's an issue, but if I do, hopefully I will. We'll definitely take a visit back here and get inside to have a closer look. Now, as I said, there are lots of things in here. We have a crypt. In the crypt behind this stone is the vault of the Tidal family. He that believed in me. Now, I presume that is down here. Oh wow. Also locked, I'd imagine, but I'm going to try and fit my camera in. So we see rails in there. Rails there. Wow, I'd love to get in there. It is a bit spooky though. And I actually don't think even the use of a torch would be of any benefit to us, because we just can't get in there, unfortunately. But as I said, never say never. This is the external entrance to the medieval crypt, which is located underneath the south transept of the church. The crypt, which is a large stone underground room, has two chambers, both of which have elongated vaulted ceilings. These barrel vaults were constructed by erecting long tunnels of wicker work, which was then plastered over and used to support the mortar and stonework of the building above. Although the twigs and saplings of the wicker work have long since decomposed, their twisted shapes can still be seen in the crypt ceiling. During the medieval period, it was a mark of social importance to be brought inside the walls of the church after death. The crypt was built to house the burials of important clerics and townsfolk, and was in use for centuries after it was first constructed. The entrance is a later addition to the crypt, and the original entrance leads down a winding staircase from the transept above. There are no medieval burial markers left inside, but the front chamber contains the 19th century burial monuments of the Nixon, Tidal and Cherry families. Now, I did hear that there is an old story, maybe made up to keep children out of the crypts, but the story is that a soldier with a lantern and his dog went down the black hole of the crypt one day, and as the story goes, only the dog came out. The soldier nor the lantern were ever found. Now, what child would want to go down here? Oh wow, there's steps down. It is kind of spooky, but very cool. Now, I didn't bring my torch. Of course, I forgot it, but I actually didn't think I was going to even see anything quite like this. And the sun, anyway, is really beating down right now. But yeah, just steps going right down in underground. How cool is that? Wow. Definitely coming back with my torch. Right, so guys, like promised, I came back with my torch. Now, one of these areas was used as a barrel store or a barrel cellar, I suppose. I'm not quite sure which one, but this goes right down underground. It does actually look like there's a tomb down there. I'll zoom you in a bit. You can see the carving there, and just below it, that to me is like a tomb. There's some writing on it. I see Robert. Just there, you'll see it. You can see some writing. As I said, I can see Robert there, but not quite sure what else it says. So very interesting. You can see it quite clear there now. The carving, as I said, in the top of a tomb. So let's go to the next one, and we go down the steps here. Now I'll try and fit you inside. Some railings, maybe old masonry from the church there. And more railings just at the side. And that goes right in there. And then up here we have the last one. That one we were just at. It does say it's the mausoleum of the Tyrrell family. Now I might get my gimbal through here as well. Wow, and there's more tomb slabs in there. Just there. Let's see if I zoom in a bit. Right. So there's the tomb slabs. Right there. That is pretty cool. There's also a bottle, a plastic bottle, and some sort of grave. But as promised, guys, I brought you back to have a look. try and take the gimbal back out. Now, the south transept was the last part of the medieval church to be built in the 13th century. It was remodelled by the local bishop around the year 1400 at a time when his cathedral in North Wexford, town of Ferns, was dangerously located in an area of warfare between the Normans and the native Irish. The transept contained some especially fine medieval grave slabs, which were moved from here from elsewhere in the churchyard in the early 20th century. It was perhaps here in this elaborate part of the church that the once famous New Ross curse was lifted in 1436. The curse was imposed on the people of New Ross when some members of the crutched friars were killed in the town before the year 1300. These murders were a form of mob justice in retribution for the killing of a local man by one of the friars. Now the news of the killing of the friars and the destruction of their monastery by the townsfolk reached the ears of the Vatican, and the entire town of New Ross was elastically reprimanded by the Pope. The curse was taken so seriously that it was only lifted more than a century later by the local bishop, attended by the Abbot of Dunbrody, acting on the instruction of Pope. It seems, however, that the local townsfolk must still have felt the weight of the papal displeasure upon them, because 2 centuries later the then bishop again petitioned the Vatican for the suspension of the curse. So just some more history that lies in this area. Oh, look at this little tiny grave in loving memory of Francis F. Fitzmaurice, aged just 9 days. Rest in peace, baby Francis, 9 days. Oh, look at the size of that little grave. That is so sad. Oh, and she's all on her own. Here lies the body of Robert and Anne Fitz. Not quite sure actually of the surname. 1795. Sorry, 1765, aged 55, and then there's a 1775, aged 67, just wrote at the bottom. Now the area does look very well maintained. We have these lovely pathways. I have just spotted this gorgeous one, but unfortunately there's actually no writing left. But look at that. That's beautiful. Now, there's a few people coming and going, which is nice. There's obviously a lot of history in this place. But I'm going to take you up along here. That's a beautiful headstone there as well. Erected in memory of James Williams, 10th of March 1915, aged 63, and his wife Catherine, 1929. Also their sons Thomas, who died at Prince George, BC, Canada. So any of our subscribers from Canada, 1918, aged 31, and Martin, who died 1st of August 1929. Also their daughter Elizabeth, 1956. Anastasia died October 1977. Sir M. Secure, 12th of February 1978. Now this one as well, look at this, in memory of Ellen Williams. She was 4 in 1849, also her sisters. Anne, 1850, age 15. Mary, 1851, age 12. Eliza, 1853, age 17. Their mother Eliza, alias Kelly, 1860. Her son John, age 16. Her grandson James, aged 8 months. Their father Henry, aged 83, 1879. Their son Joseph, aged 19 years. Wow, that is a lot of sorrow. So sad. Now, I also read online, and I'm presuming that this is the area people of the town who had leprosy were not allowed to go inside the church. So they would have to get mass by standing at this, what it was, I suppose, a hole. So I just thought that was interesting, I suppose. But I'm presuming that is the area that they were talking about, because I haven't found one similar as I've walked around. Now these look like new headstones, in the sense of either brand new headstones or they have been cleaned really well. This says, beneath are deposited the remains of James Revel of New Ross, who died March the 14th, 1845, aged 54. His wife, Anne Revel, 1866, aged 87. There's a daughter there as well. Looks like Catherine, 1895. And this is for Thomas Revel. So all of these are actually very new looking headstones. Now this one is, look at that picture there, is just stunning. This headstone is gorgeous. It's like embossed flowers, or like a 3D effect. Lots of orange kind of a lichen on it, but those designs actually go around the side of it as well. Really nice writing. Can't read it, unfortunately. This is another beautiful headstone, and that one has lead letters on it, so I kind of can make out a Philip. Not sure of the date at all though. And then this one looks quite old. I can see a 1789, aged 86, and this is Thomas Murphy. Amazing. This one has the Lamb of God on it. It's embossed as well. Well, I'm saying embossed. I presume I have the right terminology. I'm not sure. This is like one of those it's like it's an old arch from inside of the church. This one has nice designs on the top of it. Wow. And we have lots of rails. Then we have this very interesting memorial. This is for Benjamin Banks. Very interesting, but not very readable. Alright, I'm going to walk around and see if I can get into that one. It's completely full of ivy. Let's take a look. I'm definitely coming back here, guys, and I'll bring a torch and we'll illuminate the inside of those crypts. So if I get back before I edit this video, I'll certainly put it in over it. Okay, so I'm just watching where I'm walking. I don't want to walk on anyone's grave. Oh wow, look at this one. Now I'm just going to walk on the curb. We won't get in there, it's full of brambles, but Let's take a look at that railed gate. Wow. Oh wow. This is gorgeous. Look at this. I'm going to zoom in, guys. Let's see if I can. Can you see that? There, just at the top of the memorial, we have, like, I presume it's Mary. And I think the memorial is for Thomas Doyle. Not quite sure. But even if the brambles weren't there, and I'll just zoom out to show you, it does look like we have a hole there, like the ground has started to sink. And eventually I would imagine that that beautiful memorial will topple forward, which is very, very sad. Now I'm full of leaves and bramble. Walter, it looks like here, aged 57, 18 something maybe. Hard to read once again. Can you see how many little stone markers we have? We've quite a number of them. Right, let's just wander. We'll get back up here maybe. Another beautiful memorial here, actually. Look at those rails. Wow, they are huge. Now have a look at that for a picture, guys. That beautiful old church. This gorgeous memorial is for Thomas Hogan, in memory of his beloved wife Catherine, who died in 1893, aged 55. Also the above named Thomas, and he died 1913, aged 78. How beautiful is that background there? And let me get up. Wow. Some nice designs on these ones. The writing is all but gone. I do see 1826 on this one. It's a little bit easier to read maybe. Some nice designs. Just here we have little cherubs. I do see a Johanna and Bridget who died young. I do see in 1845, but not sure of the very first name there, unfortunately. Wow, look at that cross. So St Mary's Church was founded by William Marshal and his wife Isabella as the parish church of their new town of New Ross. The scale of this church is a reflection of Marshal's ambitions for the town, which was sited here to take advantage of the river Barrow. The Barrow is navigable by seagoing vessels from Marshal's lighthouse on Hook Head to his new port town. From here cargo was carried by river barges inland to a Quay in the Midlands of Ireland via the River Nore to Marshal's castle at Kilkenny. Trade was the lifeblood of the Norman colony in Ireland, and wealthy knights like Marshal farmed huge estates which exported grain, wool and hides to Britain and Europe. The imports which came to return included French wine and English pottery. At one time during the medieval period of New Ross was the busiest seaport of Ireland, and the river brought trade, wealth and cultural exchange. Isn't that just beautiful? Look at that. Wow. And you can have a look just on the ground. All of those are grave markers. So some don't even have a headstone. And you know, we've seen it lots, unfortunately. Just poor people who didn't have the money at the time, and you know, it's sad. And then you see some amazing elaborate headstones, so you know, both sides of the scale, being very, very poor and then much wealthier. Beautiful tomb there. Just see the way the ivy completely takes over, engulfs everything, and nothing is safe once it catches hold at all. And if it's not taken care of, it's gone. Now somebody has clearly used like a chalk on this one, because I can see that yellow on the headstone there. I'm sure you can see that now as well. I do see 1780, but not sure at all of the name. Now just a close look at those windows. Wow. This is a gorgeous cross. Patrick Quay, erected by Patrick Quay in New York City in loving memory of his father, James Quay. Folly House Lane, who died in 1919, aged 68, also his brother William Quay, who was only 28 when he died in 1933, and his mother 1945, aged 72. Patrick Quay died in Florida, the 8th of July 1984, aged 83, and his brother John died in New York City, October 1986, aged 77. Rails here as well, and beautiful cross in there. I'll try and fit my gimbal through and zoom in a bit. Unable to read it, unfortunately. Now I have just found this beautiful grave in loving memory of William Carton, Irish Town, 1959, age 71. Also his grandson Lawrence Larry Murphy, age 44. He passed in 2000, and his uncle Danny Carton, 2007, in his 90th year. So I'm presuming that's Larry. Look at this photo. This must be William Carton. And down below, Danny. That is an amazing tribute to three men. With lovely fresh flowers there as well. And the rails, look at these rails. The gateway in with a tomb, but unfortunately can't get in there. Loving memory of John, who died in India in April 1879, aged 36. Let's have a look at the other side. Loving memory of William Douglas. So his son must have, John must have died in India. two chest tombs here. And then once again, St Mary's Church of Ireland and the ruins. So guys, that's all for today. Take care. God bless. And I'll talk to you all soon.